Welcome to the HAYVN Hubcast, a place to learn what business leaders, owners, and professionals are doing to navigate and grow in today's market. Hear from industry experts on everything from marketing, leadership, financing, and more. Brought to you by HAYVN, a co-working space where you can connect, create, and get stuff done.
Hello and welcome to the HAYVN Hubcast. I am your host, Nancy Sheed, and I am thrilled to be here with Gina Havraneck of Elevate Virtual Solutions. Welcome, Gina.
Hello. Thanks for having me on.
Of course, of course. Gina, I am excited to kind of dive into the world of which you are now a part of, this world of virtual assistants and helping business owners, in the behind the scenes work that they do. But as we were just talking before, this is not a thing that existed way back when we were in school or thinking about what we wanted to be when we grew up, right? So can you share with our listeners a little bit about sort of your story that got you here? I'm sure there's some threads of the skill set you're currently using that you might have had then. But like me, we're doing work that didn't exist. So can you share us a little story about how you got to this?
Sure. So, I've worked in various capacities in different industries. And, as we all know, the last 15 years or so have been a little unstable. And I would say, I was found myself on the wrong end of some company downsizing, right? So I realized there's got to be a better way. And I started to learn about like online businesses. And then those online business owners started talking about their virtual assistants. And I said, I would like to know more about this because I have been in support roles, I've been in management roles, and I really always enjoyed more so being behind the scenes. I really enjoyed the role of helping people, giving them the tools that they needed to be successful. And so that, I really felt like that is an area in which I shine. And with, like you say, all these new things that are out there in the world that did not exist, online businesses and digital marketing and being able to work remotely and access things remotely. I wanted to learn more about that, how I could support business owners, where they needed that support, and create a business for myself.
And so some of the skills you had, right? Like some of the skills you had, but there are a lot of tools, right? So were you trained? Was there a period of training that you went through to sort of quote unquote become a virtual assistant? Or was it fairly easy to sort of pick up the ball and sort of start doing this work?
Well, I would say it's a little bit of both. So, just having the understanding of how to support someone, having the way that my brain works in liking to plan, thinking ahead, taking things in steps. I've done, worked on projects before to seeing them through and knowing what has to be done, working on a timeline and knowing what I need from other people to get it done. So those types of planning skills, project management skills, basic administration, that was there. But what I did have to up-level my skill set was with more of the online digital stuff. So the email marketing, websites, social media. So I did do some training. I bought a couple of different courses that taught those things, sort of the typical things that virtual assistants can do to help business owners and what those business owners would need.
And sometimes what I found is you can take training classes, right? But there's a whole lot of learning by doing, right?
Exactly.
And I suspect once you've sort of done a few things a few times, you could say to your clients, yes, I'm familiar with, and you're going to know more than they do, whether it's email marketing or with social media. Gina, as we know, the virtual assistant kind of world or industry was around or has been around well before COVID. But at the point where COVID sent people home and people, a significant group, as you alluded to earlier, moved to online businesses, the kind of the world of people understanding that virtual assistants exist and what they can do has grown. But it's a huge spectrum, of the type of work that virtual assistants can do. And so I'd love if you could speak to kind of that spectrum of work that virtual assistants can do, and as well as where you fit in on that spectrum. Like, what are the sort of skills that you bring at Elevate Virtual Solutions that are different or that would help people understand if you're a right fit for them?
Yeah, you are exactly right. It is such a broad business, and people come to it with all of their different skill sets and the different things that they like to do. So, in some cases it would be somebody hiring a virtual assistant, and they act almost like they are sitting outside of their office, right? And they are, managing calendars and scheduling appointments and monitoring email. They're in there every day or all day long. And I don't do that. And I would mostly say it's because no one has come to me asking me to do that. But because in the beginning, I thought that's kind of what it was going to be. And now that no one, but I kind of prefer not to work like that. So that's the kind of things I really don't do anything like that. So I'm really more, what I like to do is, I think a perfect example is what one of my first clients, who was an insurance broker, and he's like, I have all my client information and it needs to go into the CRM and it hasn't been, and I need somebody to get that organized, tag it, all of that stuff. So I did all of that, the backlog. And then I became, then it was every time he enrolled somebody, I got them into the CRM, tagged them right. And now we started just small. And now we have this whole process, this whole workflow. Now they get I send them their confirmations of their enrollments. I send them a thank you and asking them to send a review or, do a review. We can pull a list based on, who they are and what service they've purchased, and we can communicate with them further. So that is an example of how I can help. I can build that consistency that also provides more opportunity. Now that we know we've captured all this information in a way that we can use it, we are now going back and offering them a new service that he has. And he wouldn't be able to really do that if all of that information was sitting in a pile in the corner of his office. So, right. So that is really
I was going to say,
basic thing.
In this day and age, people still have a pile of business cards or an Excel spreadsheet of people's names and numbers. They don't know what to do with. I mean, we all do. I even people who have systems still don't have it all figured out. So
right.
That's huge. Other ways you help. I mean, I'm writing down these words of workflows and consistency and backlogs, like, probably a dream to a lot of people who don't have great systems and things in place. And it sounds like there's also a partnership that starts evolving, right? When you work with somebody.
Absolutely. And that was something that I was not anticipating and was such a pleasant surprise, because I really have developed these partnerships with my clients, the ones that I am working with regularly, weekly. Many of them work on their own, and they say, it's so nice to have somebody else that I can bounce ideas off of, just sort of talk things through, work things out, brainstorm. I hold them accountable. They like it when I remind them to do something that they said they were going to do or give to me so I could do. Oh, yes, thank you. Please keep doing that. So it has been this partnership that has been really wonderful. And I really feel like I'm a part of their business. And that consistency also allows me to think of new ways that I can help them. and help them grow their business and or become more efficient in whatever it is that they're doing. And, go ahead.
I was saying, what a gift, right? And we kind of jumped ahead into like the partnership, and I want to take a step back and say, and even when you were talking about somebody sitting outside the desk and they're looking at their emails and they're doing it, there is that level of trust that like has to get established, right? And then there's also there's trust, and then there's also the ability of somebody who's been doing everything to delegate. So that leads me to my next question. I think we're queuing up sort of, how does somebody know when they're ready for a virtual assistant, or what are the things you would say, make for a great virtual assistant relationship when you're onboarding somebody? I just think kind of priming somebody for what might be very different feel for their business is important. What have you seen or observed?
I think there's two different things where there's that point of, okay, yes, it's time, or this is definitely something I can delegate to a virtual assistant. It's something that gets done on a regular basis that does not need to be done by them. Like the entering, the onboarding of a client, the offboarding of a client. If it's just a repeatable action that can be delegated to somebody else, that's perfect. Scheduling social media, you can write the content, but you're putting it into the scheduler, or you're sharing it in a group, or these things. It takes a lot of time. You're making a graphic or editing a photo. It does take a lot of time. And I'm sure, I know it can be better spent, the business owner, it can be better spent for them to be doing their work, servicing their clients.
Right.
So again, those
being
are like
in their zone of genius.
Right. And so those are repeatable tasks. And then the other thing is, if they are bumping up against something that they want to do and there's something holding them back from doing it, it might be because they don't know how to do that thing, right? Like, I want to start an email newsletter. I don't know where to begin. I don't know how to use MailChimp, or I use MailChimp, but I don't know how to make a pretty template, or I don't know how to format it, or I don't even, all those things. Or, I see there's so much work that's involved. I've got to fill out this. I've got to do that. So maybe getting some help and somebody like me who can say, I can do that, and I can set up your MailChimp or whatever system. I can help you import all your contacts. I can help set up the template, and we can work together on the content that you want in that. And I can guide you on, maybe what I've seen other people do. I can give you ideas of what can be used, what we need, and things like that.
Best practices.
Yeah.
Exactly. What a gift. What a gift. I love that distinction. So kind of figuring out tasks that are repeatable and aren't in the zone of genius of the business owner, or that somebody else could, obviously just do. But I like where you're bringing that partnership of like, let me show you how to do it. It's possible. Don't stay stuck when somebody else is here who has a different skill set to help you do that. I think that's helpful for people who are, I find people are like, I don't know how to delegate, or what would I give somebody something to do? So I think you've given some insight of how you could help them crack through. And I think also, Gina, you alluded to all the online stuff. So being a virtual assistant, the technology is there to support this kind of work, right? Like, I would assume you're not sitting next to your clients on a regular basis. What does the communication look like these days? Are you on regular calls? Is it all email? Are you in project management software?
It's all of those things. Sometimes with the same people, or different clients work differently. And I meet my clients where they are. If they are simply an email person, great, with a periodic phone call when we need it. I'm happy to do it that way. There are clients that I do meet. We meet on Zoom weekly to talk about, review where we are and what needs to be done. And then those tasks can be delegated in a project management software like ClickUp, is one that I use with a couple of clients. Or, yeah, I mean, it can be a combination of all of those things. And it's really, I don't ever tell people this is how we have to do it. I want to work in their comfort zone.
Gosh, that makes it sound so much more accessible. Just the mention of project management software to some people, sends them in a tizzy. And then, like you said, I have some clients who are like, if you send me anything in email, I'm never going to see it. Right. Like, so that's so helpful that you can figure out the system that works. Well, Gina, we're talking on the HAYVN Hubcast, which means we have a HAYVN connection. I've loved getting to know you through several different HAYVN opportunities, but how did HAYVN come on your radar screen, or how has HAYVN helped you in your business? And I think on the flip side, I'm sure you've helped HAYVN with your expertise. I'd love a little insight there.
Sure. So I believe I first learned about HAYVN. Oh, I know that I did through Belinda Sandor, who is a virtual assistant. And then, of course, is now, as you know, I know you know her well. It has a membership and a coaching program for VAs. So she got on my radar. I saw her speak someplace, and then I saw that so I must have seen it through her group, that she was speaking at HAYVN, and I wanted to actually meet her and talk to her. So that was my first introduction, going to, maybe it was a halftime that she did. And then I coached with her. I joined one of her group programs. She really helped me. I mean, she's one of the first people I will attribute to me being where I am, was with her support in her programs. And her
we'll put a link into Belinda's work. We'll put a link into Belinda. She's a big fan as well. So we'll put a link into to her as well.
Yes. The virtual assistant connection. Yes. But then in her coaching.
Nope, you're good.
She was saying you should join HAYVN. And then another woman who I knew through Belinda's coaching, Marie Patel, who I know has been on the Hubcast, also said, you really need to join HAYVN. And so in 2021, as everyone was starting to emerge from their homes, I joined. And actually, it's my 2-year anniversary there this month of joining.
Woohoo!
So, yeah. And yeah, the very first thing that I did was the walk, which I think is maybe where I met you in person for the first time.
Exactly. I was going to say,
yeah,
it was a walk or a book chat, right?
Yeah.
A walk or a book chat. Well, it's bringing us together now. And I love that it's given, people like you and me the opportunity to speak. And I'm also curious, and again, giving back and giving talks and sharing your expertise, and also networking and finding business. It's been a fantastic resource. Gina, if people are interested in learning more about you and your business and how virtual assistants can support their business, what's the best way to reach you?
Well, you can go to my website, elevatevs.com, or by email. You can just reach me at gina@elevatevs.com. I do offer through the website, a 30-minute free consultation if anyone wants to explore what working with a virtual assistant and working with me would look like, and if we would be a good fit for each other.
Awesome.
Happy to do that. Yeah.
Perfect. Well, we'll put all those links in the show notes as well. And thank you so much for your time and sort of bringing us up to speed on the world of virtual assistants and virtual solutions. It's been great speaking with you.
Thank you so much, Nancy.
And that's another episode of the HAYVN Hubcast. Please give us a review or a rating if you like and what you're here. And even better would be if you subscribe. Thanks so much for listening.
Thanks for listening to the HAYVN Hubcast, a place to learn what business leaders and owners are doing to navigate and grow in today's market. Please leave a review on Apple Podcasts and subscribe on your favorite podcast app. HAYVN is a co-working space and virtual community located in the heart of Fairfield County, Connecticut. HAYVN is a hub for business owners and professionals to connect, create, and get stuff done. Find out more about the HAYVN community online at hayvn.com. That's HAYVN.com. HAYVN Hubcast is produced by Sound Advice Strategies.